Deny me a raise because you want to steal my husband? Enjoy unemployment? By user Fusserian. Many moons ago, think early 2000s, I worked for a small tech company in the Midwest. I started out as a customer service rep. My husband also worked there in a higher level position in a different department. There was an office manager there who did not like me at all when I got hired. She originally was a billing rep and got moved to the office manager position when the original one who hired me quit. As an added note, her brother also worked there in the same department as my husband. I was pretty much a model employee. My stats were great, I was always on time, and customer feedback surveys were always glowing when I was on shift. However, it seemed like she had it out for me because she was always trying to find something to nitpick about my performance. I divulged all this to my husband, and he admitted that prior to us getting together and before I was hired, she had expressed interest in dating him, but he rejected her. I complained to the owner, but he pretty much just shrugged it off because she'd been there forever and he didn't want to rock the boat. Come performance review time, and she gave me a terrible review and a tiny raise along the lines of everyone else on the team getting 50 cents to $1 per hour raise. And she gave me a nickel. And about 6 months later, there was a big shakeup in the company, and the general manager and 2 higher-level people from my husband's department left to work at another company who did the same type of business. Shortly thereafter, a couple big accounts my boss was pursuing ended up going to the other company. Thinking that perhaps information about the accounts he was trying to land was leaked to the other company, he sent a couple people home with pay for 2 days while he investigated, including the office manager who hated me. On day 2, he met with the team and confirmed that there was no leak, so he would be bringing the workers back in. Cue petty revenge. I had found the office manager's blog some time ago, and she had been posting frequent updates since the shakeup. When she was sent home, she posted multiple updates about the situation, including how she figured the owner would screw up payroll, not pay taxes, and get in trouble with the IRS. She also posted some pretty derogatory things about the owner. She did make a feeble attempt to keep it anonymous by spelling everyone's names backwards and making up a fake name for the company. But it was very clear it was her and our company she was talking about. After the team meeting, I asked to meet with my boss alone and showed him all the posts. He dug in and found even more damning stuff she'd written, including how she couldn't stand me and wanted to get me fired. I hadn't even seen that post until then. I couldn't contain my shit, eating grin when she returned to the office, only to be told to pack up her stuff and go. Within a year, I had a big pay bump and a promotion to management, and I assume she's off somewhere making people miserable. My traditional grandmother asked me a question and wasn't happy with my answer. By user House of 1000 Plants. So a little bit of background for context. 32, the oldest of the grandkids, and a first-generation Australian with an Eastern European background. My father's side moved here when he was quite young, so he didn't have too much trouble getting accustomed to the Aussie lifestyle. My grandparents, on the other hand, decided that they were too old to fit in, so they instead made friends with other similar oldies, never really adapting to the differences between the two countries and maintaining very traditional views. When I was 18, I fell madly in love with a boy in my grade. He happened to be from a neighboring Eastern European country, which shared a lot of cultural similarities. Since I was the oldest, I was the first to date outside of nationality. When we first started dating, my grandma made a few unsavory remarks about him and his country, but nothing that was concerning enough to address, so I just ignored them. After all, we were taught to respect our elders. Over the course of the relationship, her comments increased, which annoyed me greatly, leading me to very politely tell her to shut up. But to her pleasure, the relationship ended after 3 years, not related to her comments. When she discovered the news, she joyfully asked me a question that annoyed me greatly, so I responded.
Grandma, did you learn your lesson?
Me? Excuse me? Grandma, did you learn your lesson? Me? What lesson are you talking about? Grandma, are you going to date a nice Eastern European boy now? Me. Grandma went instantly pale and yelled, "No!" My mom yelled at me for upsetting my grandma, and I walked away giggling. Bonnie and phone call an overnight bus. Say goodbye to your personal space. By user Shadow of Thing. So I'm on a trip with a bunch of other international students, which just began with a 9-hour overnight bus leaving at 11 m and arriving at 8 m. The first hour, sure, people are excited. They're going to talk. but I wanted to get to sleep around midnight, and I think that's reasonable. But for 2 hours from midnight until 2 a.m., this American girl behind me was having a phone call, even though all the lights were off and nobody else was talking. I didn't get any sleep the whole first block of driving up until the break. After the first break, I discovered that the seat has a reclining feature. Excellent. Now, I usually wouldn't use this, even if I were trying to sleep out of respect to the person behind me in their personal space. But when you insist on making long phone calls in the early hours of the morning, depriving me of much needed sleep, that recliner is going all the way back, baby. I put it almost all the way back in the way that was most comfortable for me, but then felt her pushing the back of my chair, so I just pulled the lever and let it drop back all the way. This did actually help me to finally get a couple of hours sleep, which was all I managed to get the whole night. It was a simple, petty revenge. But hey, if you want people to respect your ability to sleep, try respecting theirs as well. I was parked in my driveway on a rainy day. By user 1877 Hunt. I parked in my driveway on a rainy day, so I couldn't park in my front yard. Had to park a couple blocks down and got drenched walking back to my house. Later that night, I took my dog out for a walk. He's an Excel bully, so he lays massive shits. At this point, I'm walking back home with 3 poop bags filled with shit. I noticed the car is still in my driveway, so I get an idea. Ran inside the house to get some gloves and walked back to the car in the driveway. Opened up the first bag and smeared it all over the car while circling around it. Tore open the second and third bag and mushed it on the handles, and inside the handles, and inside the handles, of course. I changed my Facebook feed to a photo of my dad and I as petty revenge. My user Operation Critical Height. I'll pirate it. This is my first petty revenge post. Names changed for obvious reasons. For context, I, F21, have an older father, ADM, and I'm a result of my dad's second marriage. I have several older half-siblings, but we are gonna focus on Lauren, F60. I was warned about Lauren from my other older siblings, but no one would ever really tell me what she did. Not even my dad. Her mom asked me, "Are you sure you want to meet her?" When I called to ask for her details. My mom did state that it seemed Lauren only ever called dad when she wanted something. Even when he broke his leg in several places and had to have surgery, she didn't call him until 3 weeks later when he was out of the hospital, and she lives in the same city. The small times she did call was to ask for things. And if she didn't get she would repeatedly ask until dad gave in. Despite this, I still wanted to meet her. I felt like listening to the gossip wouldn't be giving her a fair chance. And while my family is not close, I've always wanted us to be. I met Lauren over Facebook just over a year ago and started noticing that more people in my family were unfriending her. I shrugged it off until yesterday. Yesterday, I posted a photo of my dad and me at my graduation from high school, and a while later, I got a message from Lauren. She told me that I should be careful about posting photos of our family, especially of our dad, because there are people she's friends with that don't like him. He owned a business, and employees screwed people over while he was out of town, but since he owned the business, he took the fall. I told her that I was aware, but kept the photos up. She then responded that she didn't want any photos of her family on Facebook, regardless of whether or not it was hers. The thing is, my dad had given me permission to post them, so I called him to make sure. Unbeknownst to me, my sister had called him and told him I was publishing private family information to Facebook, as in addresses, phone numbers, etc. The most private information I've shared is about our great-great-grandma who died over 100 years ago, who I've been doing research on for the past several years. My dad was livid at the thought, but after explaining what happened, he apologized for jumping the gun. Now comes the petty revenge. Since she didn't want her friends to see photos of our dad, I unfriended her, but not before changing my profile picture to another graduation photo of my dad and me. I then sent her the following message. "Hey girl, that's cool that you don't want family photos on your Facebook. However, I got dad's permission to post my photos of him and me together. So I will post what I please. It's not like I'm posting family gossip. Though I implore you not to fuck with me again, because I have no problem posting family gossip about someone who does me dirty. You know for a fact I'm not posting anything personal other than family history about dead people that I worked for years to learn and have a right to share. If you have friends that would get upset with you simply because they saw a photo your 21-year-old half-sister posted, then maybe you should get better friends. Their idiocy sounds like a skill issue. For someone bordering on 60, you sure act like a teenager, trying to dictate someone's posts who you've never even met in person, nor have you made any attempt to meet me before. My adulthood couldn't be me, girly pop. I actually care about my family. Edit 1. I just got her response. All she said was, whatever, I don't read long texts. Unfriendly meeples, which is hilarious because she sent me 2 essays about why I shouldn't post photos of our dad. My response to her was, you can't read them, but you can sure write them. See you next Tuesday. To edit 2. Fixing my grammar.